Hi, welcome to another edition of Carnivore Bites. I'm your host, Jeff Sherman, and along with Dr. Eric Lopkin. And, kind of a very slow news week. I don't know really what happened, Dr. Lopkin. Can you help me? Please help me.
Yeah, compared to past weeks, this was a landslide.
It was an avalanche. So the first thing is and it's just huge, is, well, let me just take a step back because I think you articulated things really well. And tell us about your theory that this is Trump's best week ever.
So much went on this week. This literally is the best week Trump has had since he won the election. First, you have the conclusion of the Mueller campaign, Mueller investigation, with absolute certainty. Mueller states there was no collusion. None at all. He was less definitive on whether or not there was obstruction, but the Justice Department's position is, well, if there's no underlying crime, what are they obstructing? So
yeah, I mean, there's no obstruction,
right?
If there's no crime. But help me out. How do people that are lawyers, like Adam Schiff, he doesn't know that? Where did he go to law school? Like Billy Bob University? Like, what's going on here? I mean, I know that. I'm not a lawyer.
Because it's a matter of splitting hairs. People have gone to jail for obstruction when the underlying charge wasn't proven in court. So they're trying to use that as a wedge. In fact, the example that I've been hearing is Martha Stewart. When she went to jail, she actually went to jail for obstruction. They never proved the insider trading.
But she did do insider trading.
Right. That's the difference. She did the insider trading. They just couldn't prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. Trump has been exonerated.
Dr. Lopkin, if that's the bar, collusion without a crime, then we could charge everyone. Dr. Lopkin, you're under arrest for obstruction of justice about stealing the diamonds from the XLY safe. You didn't do it, but the whole thing is ridiculous. So,
Warren Buffett had a great quote. He said, if a cop follows a car for 500 miles, he will find a reason to give them a ticket. That's what the Democrats are trying to do. They lost the collusion charge, so it's going to make things very difficult. But Jerry Nadler, just over the weekend, stated on television that the Mueller investigation was only looking at crimes. We're looking at other things. Well, if it's not a crime, what are you looking at?
Yeah, no. And these people, let's just be honest, Nadler, Schiff, they and our own
Blumenthal.
Denang Dick never just enjoyed being a rock star. I don't know what's going to happen to them when this goes away because they're going to be they might need a counselor. They're going to be so depressed. In fact, I heard a very funny story by Donald Trump Jr. about Richard Blumenthal, that in the hearing, he had some hearing and senatorial hearing, and he asked everyone, is there any further questions? And everyone said, no, you've answered all the questions. Then he says he sees Richard Blumenthal on MSNBC a minute later saying there's many unanswered questions. I mean,
right.
it's
that's
comical.
What Blumenthal does.
There's many unanswered questions.
Remember, Blumenthal on numerous occasions has claimed that he has evidence that there was collusion. Well, the Senate investigation concluded no collusion. The Mueller investigation concluded no collusion. What evidence did he have? Because obviously nobody else believed it.
Okay, but here's the big issue. This is huge for me. Okay, first of all, before we talk about what I think is really amazing, how does this affect Trump politically? I have my own views, but I'd like yours.
I think the best thing I heard, and I think it sums up Trump right now perfectly. Last week, somebody on social media was going tick-tock, we're counting down, we're going to get rid of Trump. after the Mueller investigation's conclusions hit, his response was, we're going to have 6 more years of Donald Trump.
I don't see how that doesn't happen. Okay, just put your marketing hat on, Dr. Lopkin. You're a great marketer. I've had my own share of it as well. I just know personalities. And tell me if you think I'm correct. Nadler, the whole shift, the whole Blumenthal, that got traction when people were, especially maybe people on the left, were waiting for this shoe to drop. They were the orators. They were the ones giving the information. Now that most sane people know the whole gig is up, I think it falls completely on deaf ears. I think they start, I'm not just saying this because I may be partisan. I think they become comical.
They really have. There's been a number of articles.
Do you agree that it has no like political traction anymore?
No real political traction. There have been a couple of articles over the past few days talking about the fact that if the Democrats don't give this up right now, by the time the election comes up, they're going to have the diehard extreme left on their side, but they will have lost any moderate Democrats and they will have lost the independents. And they can't win the presidency without both of those groups.
And no, and then that nails it, Dr. Lopkin. Is you still have the whack jobs, the Rachel Maddow, aficionados, but the average, Lawrence O'Donnell, those people. But the what's left of the sane Democratic Party, they're going to tune out. I mean, you already know there's no fire. Someone's still yelling fire. You kind of say, well, there's really nothing to see here. There's no fire. Am I right or wrong?
They had already tuned out. The most recent poll prior to the conclusion being released was that 65% of Americans had already lost interest in the investigation.
That's what I'm saying. So you're beating a dead horse. Only the true believers believe any or have any interest in any of this. I think it falls on deaf ears. You reveal that you're just a political hack. I mean, the gig's up. You got to move on, and it shows. Also, am I right or not?
You aren't.
Hold on. It shows the Democratic Party. It exposes them as a party with no ideas. The only reason they won the midterms or got picked up seats is because the whole Trump fiasco. Once it's gone, the smoke clears. There's no agenda. Am I correct or not?
Yeah, the midterm elections were completely about people running against Trump. That's all that was. And remember, even doing all of that, they still failed to have a blue wave materialize. They actually did worse than the opposing party does historically.
Agreed, yes.
But they're not giving up, especially not in the media. We've already seen Andrea Mitchell on NBC say, well, the reason they didn't find anything is because Trump and his people lied to the investigators. You've gotten Bill Maher beating the drum that I don't need the Mueller investigation to know Trump is a traitor. You've got these wacko media personalities that are going to keep beating the drum. And Lindsey Graham had a fantastic quote, because if you remember, Graham was around back when the Clinton impeachment went. And he said the best thing the Democrats can do is learn from our mistakes, because the Republicans kept beating the drum and they got beaten in the election.
And they got beaten badly, by the way.
Yep.
So the other part that I think is very interesting is all these media outlets, especially MSNBC, CNN. It's fascinating. I didn't know this, that MSNBC was kind of on the ropes for the ratings until this situation. It was almost a gift from heaven. After the Mueller findings, their ratings, Rachel Maddow's ratings plummeted. So what's in their future?
This was all MSNBC had. They were kowtowing to the extremists on the left. And, they were depending on that for their ratings. MSNBC wasn't doing this for any grand political statement. They were doing it for business reasons.
That's it. How do you think it shakes up the media landscape, if it does at all? I think it does.
I think.
Wait, hold on. Do you think that Zucker? I think it's not going to happen now. I think I believe that he may be in trouble. He has the most egg on his face because I do believe, and I do think it's interesting and true, that MSNBC wears this suit every day. There's no illusions. They're the liberal media outlet, and there's nothing wrong with that. CNN, however, was supposed to be the neutral arbitrator of the news, and they just blew that out. I mean, they have no brand left. Agree or not?
No, CNN has no real brand. I don't know if Zucker is going to take it on the chin with this one. If it was anybody else, I would say probably. But Zucker has a long history of failing upwards, and for some reason, he keeps managing to survive. So I think he'll survive this.
I would have to say, really seriously, I don't get it, because I know people, barely marginal people. It's just common sense could do it. But he destroyed a strong brand in CNN. He destroyed it.
Well, he destroyed CNN. Prior to that, he destroyed NBC. So, I mean, he keeps doing this. I don't know how he still has a job.
It's interesting. So, as we close, give us your impression of the entire kind of lay of the land. What are the repercussions? What's the crystal ball going to say?
This week was Trump's best week ever. You had the Mueller investigation closed. He's exonerated on collusion. You have Michael Avenati, who was making all the noise with Stormy Daniels. He's been arrested for extortion. You've got the Green New Deal, the big hook from the radical left, smacked down in the Senate. Not only did the Republicans vote no on it, not a single Democrat voted for it.
Oh, because it's a suicide pact.
And in an effort to save face, AOC tweeted, "Oh, they didn't vote for it because I encouraged them to just vote present."
Sure.
She's done.
Done. I think CNN, they'll take them years to recover. I would have to agree with you in closing, Dr. Lopkin. Trump's best week ever. Until next week, awesome.
See you then.
You've been listening to Carnivore Bites, part of the Exvadio Podcast Network. You can catch us every week at exvadio.com/podcasts, on the iHeartRadio app, the Apple Podcasts app, the iTunes Store, Spotify, and wherever you find podcasts. You can also catch us live every Friday at 4 on WESU FM 88.1.